Hello and welcome to Talk of Good Games match preview of Everton against West Ham United, a 2:15 kickoff at Goodison Park, as both sides head into this one on 4 points in the Premier League. Gonzo, can you kick us off with your thoughts on our opponents as always, please?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a bizarre, I think, transfer window and then start to the season from Everton. I've got to say, they seem to be in trouble on the financial fair play watch list, and they appear to have a deadline when they had to recoup some money. So they sold, well, what many of us would consider to be their best player, Richarlison, to recoup the money. But then they've sort of gone on a bit of a spending spree, not a massive one, but, you know, a spending spree. So I think it was a box ticking exercise rather than them being skint. I think they had to recoup some money. So just the balance sheet for whatever that calendar FFP year was, they had to bring something in. I'm pretty sure they'll have to do the same again at the end of this season, but you're allowed £105 million losses over 3 years, I think, something like that. So I thought that was a bit of a strange one, but then they started recruiting players, bringing players in. Oddly, the owner was looking for new investment. Peter Kenyon, who is the former chairman of Manchester United, put together a consortium, nearly got the takeover done, but then he turned it down. But then you've got the really odd situation where they've got a lot of funding coming from Usmanov, who used to be the second largest shareholder at Arsenal. Obviously, he has an embargo against him because of all the stuff that's going on in Ukraine. So they're not able to pull on his investment. So I think in terms of the structure of the club, there's massive uncertainty. And I don't claim to be an expert in any of this stuff, but I've heard that has meant that the new stadium has stalled as well. That's not going ahead at the schedule that they sort of wanted, certainly. So I think I'd suggest Everton a club of uncertainty at the moment, mate.
I'll stick to the footballing side of it. I think shaky start, obviously 2 defeats and 2 is not good, but they've sort of got a little bit tougher to beat, you know, unbeaten in their last 4, but they still haven't won a game this season. Depends how you want to look at it. Stats are funny like that, aren't they? Only them and Leicester are yet to pick up 3 points, and I think there's a lot of juries out about Everton and individuals at the club as well, including the manager, Frank Lampard. Is he good enough to be a Premier League manager? I don't think we actually know yet. Got the job done last season. I think it was a bit of a gamble bringing him in, but they stayed up. He certainly bought into Everton. You can see him sort of, when they stayed up, and him sort of bouncing around on the roof of Goodison Park and singing the songs with the fans and stuff like that. And from a footballing perspective, I quite liked it. I quite like seeing a manager do stuff like that, trying to really build a relationship with the fan base as well. And I think it will get you credit in the bank long term as well if you need it. Transfer window came round. Like you said, a lot of changes. Losing Richarlison's a massive blow to them, but I think they've recruited relatively well, actually. Bringing in also Cody on loan, I think, is a brilliant signing for them. But then almost sums up the luck at Everton recently. They bring him in, switch to a back 3 or keep it a back 3, and then Mina gets injured, then Godfrey gets injured. Says, oh, now what do we do? Tarkowski's a fantastic signing for them as well. Obviously, they pinched Onana from us, or they swooped in late and got him. Idrissa Gana Gueye at the club. Dwight McNeil's gone in there, who hasn't lit up Goodison Park yet. I think it's one of those, a bit of a gamble of a signing. Can we get the potential out of him? Brought in Neil Maupay to give it a striker option as well. Sticking with mainly Premier League experienced players as well, which I don't think is a bad thing when you're probably anticipating to be in the bottom half of the Premier League and wanting to try and stay away from a relegation battle. I don't think signing players of that ilk and sort of background is necessarily a bad thing. Just trying to keep it safe if you want. So it'll be an interesting one. I think what lies ahead for Everton at this point is unknown, but there's a lot of risks there. While I think the signings are safe, I think mainly in the dugout with the manager, I think it's quite risky. But what's your thoughts on Frank Lampard thus far?
I've got to be honest. I thought him and Gerrard, at least one of the two of them, wouldn't see out the season. I could be honest though, you've got to look at anybody that's an established and sizable club, and Everton a big club, Aston Villa a big club, West Ham a big club now, and we're all below Bournemouth. So I'd suggest any of the managers are on relatively shaky ground. If we stay down the bottom end, Is it? Maybe we've all got 4 points. I should have really checked. Yeah, I think he's on precarious grounds, really, because I don't believe it to be a stable club. I actually think he is actually doing better than I thought he would do, Geo. I kind of don't know. As he's at near the bottom of the league and he's got 4 points, but he does seem to be building a bit of a team spirit there, like a lot of managers seem to do now. He managed to sort of get rid of Dele Alli. Had a look at him, got rid of him pretty quickly, so identified it wasn't good. I mean, he's done. I think he's done well in his recruitment as well, which we'll touch on in a second, because he's actually brought in a leader in Cody, I think, which is really, really important. I mean, he even started to get. I guess he's managerially, he's not doing badly. He's even getting a little tune out of EVEWHU, which is amazing. I don't mean like a full symphony out of him, more like a little, year 3 student playing a triangle on a recorder, but he's getting some form of tune out of him, because I just thought that was £50 million wasted. I think you talk about Anana being in there, but Gay coming back is a massive one, because I think if they can really cement up the centre of that park, then they'll do okay. But I don't worry for them because I'm an Everton supporter, but you do on the long term. I'm not sure Mopé is the goal scoring option, the goal scoring answer to the question. They're going to miss a lot of goals with Richarlison being there, and obviously Calvert-Lewin's injured as well. He's got a task on his hand, mate. I'll give you that much.
Well, trying to get your crystal ball out, how big a task do you think they'll get relegated? I'll go first. I don't think they will. I think they'll stay up. I think the purchases they've made, like you said, in centre midfield in particular, there's one other player that I've not mentioned for a reason. I think that's good. I think he's getting to grips with it now. I think the injuries to defence might actually do him a favour in the long run, that someone's forced him into a back four. He's finally made the big call, which gets Seamus Coleman out of the team and put Patterson in there, which was a huge hindrance last season. Every week I'd watch Everton wondering why Patterson is not playing, and then I'd watch Coleman playing and thinking, why is he playing? So it's difficult to drop big players like that. Lampard knows all about it. He was dropped eventually at Chelsea alongside the likes of Drogba and Terry as well. But he's finally done that, and I think it's almost a weight off his shoulders that he doesn't feel obliged to play Seamus Coleman every week. And so I think he's got a little bit of information. In regards to Neil Mopé, I think it was difficult. They're trying to buy a striker on a budget, on a shoestring budget. And I know they've forked out for him, but strikers for Premier League teams that's almost guaranteed you goals cost a lot of money, and they don't have it. And I think for what they've paid, I think they've got an all right player in Neil Mopé. I quite like him. Is he going to get them 15 goals this season? Probably not. But he's not necessarily brought in to do that. He's brought in to be second fiddle to Calvert-Lewin when he's fit, and he's the man that's probably going to try and get them the 15 goals. And at the end of the day, is Neil Mopé an upgrade on Solomon Rondon? Absolutely. So he's added a little bit of squad depth there. So I think it's a good signing for what it is and what he's got to do in the team. And he's a scrapper. If Everton are going to be down the bottom of the table, you're going to need that attitude will get you points to some extent. And I think Neil Mopé fits in with what Frank Lampard had them doing at the end of last season, which is difficult to beat and just almost grind your way to stay in the Premier League. I don't think they'll go down.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. An established Premier League club's going down, and it could be Leicester, it could be Everton, it could be Villa, it could be Southampton, it could be us. But I look at. I
was wondering if you were going to include us in that or not.
Why not? Without should be snobbish of me to think we would be excluded from that club. However, of all the clubs I listed, I think Everton are the least capable over the long term of scoring goals until Calvert-Lewin comes back. I think you'd look at everyone else and think, okay, they've got goal scorers. They haven't won in their last 5. That being said, Leicester have lost all of their last 5. So you'd have to say they're favourites. I don't think it's doom and gloom. I really don't. I do actually think Lampard is an okay manager. I think I'll say it here now. I think Lampard is a better manager than Gerrard. That would be my suspicion. Yeah. So I think they got a chance. And keeping Gordon's massive for them, Gio.
Right, before we talk about the players we admire from Everton, move on to the West Ham team, the team that we would like to see play this weekend, how we feel about the game. This video is sponsored by Spitch. Now, enough about Everton and West Ham. Would you like to see my team, Gonzo?
I'd love to see your team.
I've got a change in tactic this weekend. I'm going aggressive. Usually, I go under budget, don't I? Usually, I start at 100 points. Oh, no, I've gone over budget this weekend. Now, before I bring it up, Switch is a fantasy football app which is free to download, free to sign up, and there's free to play games, including a classic Premier League game this weekend where top prize wins £250. You put your team in for this weekend, and then next weekend you pick a completely different one. But the winner of this weekend gets £250. Right, here is my team. I'll talk you through it. In goal, I've gone with Leno of Fulham. I've got the back three. I've got Trippier, Aaron Creswell, and Bella Kotchap. My four across the middle, I've gone with Souček, Joelinton, Kevin De Bruyne, and Andreas Pereira. And up front, I've got Mitrovic, Kane, and Haaland. And I've captained Mitrovic for this weekend. I seen you scowling when I was reading them. I can see you down under the screen. Your little square. I can see you doing there.
Yeah, I don't think that's going for it.
Why not?
I'll show you tomorrow what's going for it.
Yeah. We'll see. Mitrovic against Nottingham Forest. Oh, that's a hat trick right there. That is a hat trick. Kane against Leicester, who can't defend set pieces. That's a hat trick right there. I'm beating you this weekend. But you'd like to get involved, you can download the app via the link in the description. Make sure you join the Hammers Chat League by clicking on community, search Hammers Chat, join up and see how you get on against us. Last question on Everton. Players you admire?
Yeah, I like Gordon. He's a good player. I don't want to talk about the midfielder. He looks all right. He don't look bad, Geo.
What's his name?
I don't want to say it.
Oh, but I'll set you up for the joke there.
What is the joke?
What's his name? What's your name? Oh, nah.
Yes.
I set you up.
No, I'm only joking. No, I think he's good. What happened? Actually, it doesn't matter. I've answered my own question there, mate. I've got to be honest. I don't think they have a ton of outstanding. I was going to ask what happened to Luca Dina, basically, Luca Dean, but I remembered, so it doesn't matter. I don't, but I really like Connor Cody. You know this. I think he's an okay footballer as a leader. I think he's absolutely exceptional. I think it's a really smart signing by him. That much is for sure. I also think McNeil will come good as well. I don't think he's a bad player at all. I think this might work for him. I think they've gone for too long. Things like the Sigurdsson signing and things like that. I think they've bought big players and, for big money who weren't necessarily going to knuckle down. I don't think he's doing that. I think he's got more like, funny enough, almost going back to the old David Moyes Dogs of War at Everton. I think he's going to try and battle his way out of it. And I don't wish to be demeaning to any of their players. I do think Gordon is really, really skillful. But I don't see an exceptional talent like Richarlison there anymore. But you know what? That might not be a bad thing. They just need to get goals, Joe. But I tell you what, they're resilient. And I think as a unit, they're bigger than some of their parts, which ain't easy because he's swapping between it. I see sometimes play with 3 at the back, sometimes 4 at the back. I know because of injuries and whatnot. To be fair, he's probably, we're not doing a great job at West Ham of transitioning between 2 different formations ourselves. But yeah, mate, they got some fair players.
Yeah, I think you touched on Iwobi earlier. I always slag him off when we do previews of Everton West Ham games because what a waste of money he was, so on and so forth. But playing in centre midfield, it's a new player. It's very identical to Joelinton at Newcastle, which is we've got this athletic guy up front who works really hard, does everything out of possession, but just in possession, not creative enough. We're not getting the goals. Well, moving back 20 yards on the pitch, take the pressure of that away from him. You've got a really good player there. Pardon me. And I think he's been Everton's best player this season, Iwobi. James Garner, I think, will be a really good signing for them. I wouldn't have minded him at West Ham whatsoever. I thought he was very impressive at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
And will he be a mainstay in the team? I'm not sure. He's got a lot of options in midfield now. There's Lampard, Iwobi, Davies, Decore, Idrissa Gana Gueye, Amadou Onana, James Garner. There's a lot of options for that centre midfield area now. But that's probably why you should probably stick with that 3 midfield rather than switching to the 2 and then going 3 up front. But the one player I'm going to talk about the most, you say there's no exceptional talent there is in Nathan Patterson. I'm a big Nathan Patterson fan, and I think this season he's been absolutely brilliant. He's really making that spot his own. Going forward, really, really good. Defensively, pretty solid. He's still a little bit raw at times. You can tell he's inexperienced, but I do think he'll go on and be a top right back in the Premier League. I think he's I'm annoyed he went to Everton, not because he's gone to Everton, just because he didn't come to West Ham. Now, we were never interested in him. It's not like we missed out on him or anything like that, but I'm annoyed we weren't interested in him because, at 12 million, it was a lot of money for somebody that played a handful of games for Rangers, but the talent's been there from day one, and there's reasons he couldn't get into the Rangers team, but he's gone to Everton. I think he looks absolutely fantastic so far, and I'm actually worried about him for our game on Sunday, that he's going to cause us a bit of problems down that side. So anyway, shall we talk about our side?
Yeah, mate.
And team news very, very quickly, because there's not that much, which is Ben Johnson is expected to continue to miss out. Harrison Ashby is still AWOL, and Aguero is still miles off coming back. But apart from that, it's pretty much a full squad. Lots of players for David Moyes to choose from, but we're not going to talk about David Moyes choosing from them. We're going to talk about what me and Gonzo are doing in relation to picking from those teams. The team that we wish to see, not the team that we think we'll see, what we want to see. And before we get into the personnel, Gonzo, we're going to have to talk formation, because 3 at the back again in the European game, but we weren't very good at it. We played 4 at the back as well. I mean, we keep flipping between the 2 of them. Which would you like to see on Sunday afternoon?
I want to see 4 at the back.
Yeah.
I've had enough, actually, of the experiment. But yeah, I think 4 will suit us better. I don't think we have enough fit centre halves to be playing that system, and enough, I don't think we've got enough time to learn it either properly. So let's go back to more or less what we've been playing for the last couple of years.
Same for me. In goal,
Fabianski for this one. Areola didn't grasp the opportunity to put pressure on him in the European game, basically.
Talk me through the back 4 you desire to see.
Right back, Tilo Kehrer.
Yeah.
Dawson, Zuma, and Aaron Cresswell.
Yeah, same as me. No Emerson?
No. No, I'm not. We've just, as we record this now, we've literally just done our player ratings for the Silkeborg game, but nothing against Emerson. I don't have any. I don't think he's rubbish. I don't think he's brilliant. And I thought Cresswell had a really good game against Silkeborg. Actually, had a decent game. Gives us good deliveries from corners and set pieces. And do you know what? I want to get as you'll see from the team I'm about to pick, I want to get a real big supply line going into that box. So it has to be that back 4, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. Dawson has a good partnership with Kurt Zuma, so there's no sort of getting used to each other back there. It's just a case of, is Dawson fit enough? He looked fit enough. He had to feel his way into the game on Thursday night, but once he got into it, I thought he played quite well. And Tilo Kehrer has to play by process of elimination for me. I mean, I'm intrigued to see him more at right back anyway because of his ability on the ball. But I'm almost going a little bit on that side. It's a little bit sort of like safety first, which is we might lack the runs from Soufal, but then when they're ineffective, when we're not really doing much with the final ball, and what's the point to some extent? Whereas Tilo Kehrer, we know will supply a different kind of ball. And I saw him crossing it a couple of weeks ago against Viborg, I think it was, into that ball. It wasn't like that. It was Tottenham. When we played Tottenham at the London Stadium, he was the one whipping the crosses into the box, and they were bloody good as well, actually. So I want to see him at right back because Soufal is just bang out of form, and there's no alternative to play there bar Tilo Kehrer. And I feel a bit harsh on him because it'll be like his 5th different position. He's only been at the club for about 6 games, but I feel the word desperate is a strong word, but I almost feel an element of that going into this game, which is with team selection, with performance, and with the necessity to get 3 points against him. I am desperate for all these things because we're not in a great place right now. So Tilo Kehrer right back. Now this is where we now have options. Going forward, the rest of the team. Up front, we've got options. Attacking midfielders, we've got options. And centre midfield, we've got options in there as well. Obviously, Declan Rice will start, but Thomas Souček's been in good form, however, picked up an injury, missed a couple of games. Yep. Meanwhile, Flynn Downs is putting a man-of-match performance, and Lanzini did all right.
Well, I'm picking 3 of them. Come, I played a 4-3-3.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm actually going with Rice, Downs, and Souček for this game. As the midfield 3. I think we were coming up against a team of battlers here, and I want to battle them. And make no apologies, I mean, for picking Kehrer there. Kehrer is faster than Soufal. He's a better defender than Soufal. I actually think he's technically better than Soufal. Will he make the necessary runs? No, but I think there's no reason not to play him there. And don't feel sorry for him. He's come from Paris Saint-Germain. He's a German international. That's absolutely fine to play him there. I think we're more solid at the back by doing that. Dawson's inclusion more solid at the back. I think Downs will become more solid at the back. Downs likes to tackle. He's a bit naughty, and that's good. I like that. Rice is in there, and having Rice, Souček, and Downs in there will allow Rice to maraud a little bit. It's not going to be an easy battle in central midfield. I think they're good in there, Everton. I think they've got it done, and they've got other players. Whatever happened to Alan? Have they still got Alan? Is Alan still there?
Yeah, he just don't play.
Okay, so they've got Decore. Is he still there?
Yeah.
And they've got Gay as well. They've got a really good choice of midfielders there. I didn't mean to demean them earlier. I didn't feel they had an exceptional, big one. But actually,
we know what you meant.
As a four, they've got a series. They've got a number of sort of 4 out of 5 star players, if you know what I mean, in that midfield area. And we've got to be careful with them. So I want to really contest it in there. So that would be my choice of my 3.
I would go with Rice, Souček, and Paqueta. Again, in a 4-3-3 formation. Now I am shoehorning Paqueta in there, but I feel like we need a little bit of star quality. We need somebody that can turn the game on its head just like that. And he's probably the one, because when I was doing this, I thought maybe we'd leave Paqueta out, actually. Maybe there's an argument for not playing him because Benrahma's sort of the in-form attacking player. He goes in. Fanals has done well in recent weeks. He has to go in. Then I thought, well, can you play Paqueta on the right? Not really. Do you want to play Benrahma or Fanals on the right? Definitely not. So there's no space for Paqueta all of a sudden. So this is where I started almost questioning it a bit. But I thought, well, I'm inclined to see him play though, and he is a battler though. Paqueta doesn't mind putting in the shift. If he was a bit more a fair weather player or a bit of a luxury player, then I'd probably leave him out for this one because he will get bullied out the game. But I think he's one of these players that will roll his sleeves up and get stuck in with his teammates. So that would be the trio in midfield for me with Rice, Souček, and Paqueta. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting because, as I've just said, you can make a case for every attacking midfielder starting, but then you can also make a case for every attacking midfielder not starting as well. So I'm very intrigued to see which 2 players you've gone with here.
What, as my wide players?
Yeah.
Antonio on the right and Cornet on the left.
I wasn't expecting that.
No, we have to attack. Listen. That you can play Fornals in this game if you want, but it's a defensive move. I've got Cresswell on the left. There's crosses coming. I've got Kehrer pushing up on the right from wide areas. Antonio on his right foot swinging crosses into the box. I've got Cornet on his left foot swinging crosses. There's double crosses basically coming from that left hand side. They're gonna have to double up on us. And I've got Souček joining Scamacca in the middle. Right, I've got a 6'4" player and a 6'5" player. David Moyes keeps searching for this new way to play, and it might not be tippy-tappy. I want to absolutely bludgeon this team.
The one thing I will say, though, Cody and Tarkowski's one hell of a centre-back paving to deal with crosses coming into the box.
They're all right, but I have seen Cody absolutely destroyed before, and actually I've seen him destroyed against West Ham. I've seen Antonio
on the deck.
Destroy him on the deck, but mate, listen, as good as they are, they will not win every header against Scamacca and Souček. They just won't. They can't win every single one, particularly when there's going to be second balls that pop up, and those second balls will be popping up to Cornet and Antonio as well.
But they're swinging it in.
Well, maybe Cresswell is as well. That's the point, and it comes from the other side. This is the way I would go for it. I think we have to go. We really have to go for this, and I would look at it different. I actually think, and I like them. I like Tarkowski. I wouldn't mind to sign him. I wanted to sign Cody as well. You ain't got to convince me that those players, but I would like to try and overwhelm them.
I mean, it's a bold move. I'm pretty certain you're not going to see the team you wish to see.
We won't. We won't. David Moyes will not go as. Funny enough, it's all right. Is it an attacking team like a Brazilian flair attacking team? No, but my team is there with an intent.
Well, it's you're going for efficiency. You're going for law of averages here, which is.
I'm going full Tony Pulis here, mate.
I'm about to say you're going for increase the number of crosses, and therefore the chances of scoring a goal from a cross increases as well. Naturally, that's what you're going for. I just think their centre backs, I think you're almost playing into their hands a little bit doing that, which is, I mean, you've just said it yourself. Antonio destroyed Cody on the deck, so now you're going to take Antonio out of a race from Cody and put him on the right and swing it into Cody on the head. But one thing I will say, I agree that we've got to do something different because it's not really working thus far, is it? For myself, I've gone with Ben Ram on the left. He's our most informed attacking player. He's got to start. Get him on the left up against Patterson. That'll be a good battle between the two of them. On the right, I've gone with Cornet. Bowen's not in form. It cost us a goal Thursday night. Yeah. Even when you take that away from him, there's been a justification for leaving Jared Bowen in the team because of what he does off the ball, his defensive aspect and stuff. Well, sorry, but Thursday night defensively he cost us a goal. So, and more worryingly, when Moyes spoke after the game on Thursday, he said, "Oh, he didn't name anyone, but he basically said the attacking players weren't passing to each other. Out of Bowen, Benrahma, and Cornet, they weren't passing for each other. Maybe they should have played each other in or something like that. And if you set one up, they might set you up later on." And then he went on to almost say, "Oh, Bowen's getting back to himself. We're seeing good pieces." So I thought, okay, so clearly we're speaking about Benrahma and Cornet rather than Jared Bowen when you said about selfish players and stuff. Although I think you're attacking the wrong players here because you're going after the guy that's probably been our better player going forward. And Cornet, who came off the bench against Chelsea and should have saved your arse a little bit. And you're defending the one player who's been bang out of form all season, actually. And I just thought it was a very strange attack from David Moyes. Now, like I said, Cornet and Benrahma for me. Up front, Antonio, by the way. I think he was fantastic in our last couple of games when Scamacca was out. I thought he was brilliant. So he starts for me. Not an easy one. I think when we ask you guys watching this to put your team in the comments below, we'll all be different. Everybody will have a different formation and everybody will have a different makeup of squad. That's a good thing because we've got loads of squad depth now, but it's also a bad thing because nobody's that much in form that they have to start. As simple as that, really. So it is almost a little bit Gonzo. When we step away from what we want to see and think about David Moyes for a second, it's a question of sort of like balance for Moyes, isn't it? How much do you trust that player that's out of form, but then the guy that is in form, are you going to play him because of what he can give you? I mean, you don't have Paqueta in your team, for example.
No, I don't. But Paqueta didn't play well against Silkeborg. So yeah, I just don't think this is a game for them as well. They got an absolute brute in central midfield. In fact, they'll have a couple of them as well. This is not the game. I just don't feel this is the game for that. This is I'm going to say it. This is a must-win game.
Yeah,
it really is. And I would not muck around at this one. It's a case of going back to basics. I understand he's searching for this new way to play and this new. Yeah, forget it. Corner from Dawson, bang. We'll have a bit of that. Souček at the far post, nodding it down. I want to outnumber him with big players, and we can. Do you know what I mean? Let's go with them. Our two quickest players are Cornet and Antonio. I want them involved. It's pace and power. That's what the team's about: pace and power. It's a team of giants, basically, and. Corners. Everyone's so big. I'm not sure who would be back defending if we had a corner. I guess it'd have to be Downs and Cornet. Downs and Cresswell's going to be taking the corner. I mean, almost everyone else is 6 foot plus. Do you know what I mean? So, mate, this game, particularly with the international break coming up afterwards, West Ham or Everton, you do not want to be losing this game. Whoever loses this game is going to spend the international break in the bottom 3, probably. West Ham don't want another loss. If Everton lose it, that would be 6 Premier League games without a win. Whatever training grounds, it ain't a good place to be for the 2 weeks, but obviously your international players will bugger off on international duty. But it's massive for both managers. They both know it. There's going to be a lot of stress involved in this fixture, I think.
Quick team news from the Everton side. I think good news and bad news for West Ham fans. The good news is Jordan Pickford is out injured for this one, so he will not be in goal for Everton on Sunday. And the bad news is Calvert-Lewin is back in training. Whether he starts or not remains to be seen, but he is certainly back in the squad and available for selection for Frank Lampard. It is a big game. I agree with you. It's a big game for both teams, but from a West Ham perspective only, I think It's massive for Moyes, really. He needs a win and ideally a good performance to go with it as well. But I think just a win, no matter how ugly it is, just buys time essentially a little bit, gives a bit of breathing space over the 2 weeks over the international break as well. Because if we lose this one, the frustration among the fan base is only going to increase, and it's going to stay like that for 2 weeks over the international break as well. And it's a long, long time till we play another game, and we're coming up to an important run of fixtures for us in the Premier League. Actually, we've got some sort of on paper winnable games starting on Sunday for the next few weeks in the Premier League. We need to be racking up the points and getting away from the bottom, so that come the World Cup in November, we're going into that not miles away from relegation, ideally close to the top 6, so we've got a chance of getting European football again. And it starts on Sunday. We need to start putting good performances together. There's a pressure on Moyes to get the formation right and the tactics right. Both things, not just one or the other. Both things have to be right. And thirdly, the team selection as well has to be correct. I want to see bravery from David Moyes. If he will play Jared Bowen, right? He will play Jared Bowen. Now, if he plays Bowen and Bowen puts in a good performance, which we know he's capable of, and he scores and stuff like that, fantastic, well done. Manager's justified. But if he plays players like Bowen and we do not win this game, then, I mean, he's just inviting pressure onto himself, really, by going with his favouritism and ignoring other players' sort of form and stuff like that. So it's a huge game for West Ham on Sunday afternoon. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty nervous for it, actually. I'm not looking forward to it as I was a couple of days ago. I'm not overly confident and a bit nervous. What about yourself? Are you confident?
No. I mean, how can you be? There's not an awful lot to get behind. And what I mean is to look at and to think, oh, no, that gives me confidence. That performance that I saw from X, Y, and Z is giving me confidence for the Everton game. Players in form, there ain't a lot of them, to be fair. So,
Suchek, Antonio Scamacca.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's good. Rice is coming into form as well. I think we've got 2 out of form goalkeepers though as well, which is a little bit of a concern. I think we're still struggling for our best defensive system and partnership. Not sure midfield, despite some good individual performances, is struggling. Rice is often left isolated in there, and I'm not sure Moyes is quite brave enough to pick his best front three. I'm not saying the one I've selected.
I'll go 2 strikers.
Exactly.
They're both in form. He won't play them both from the off.
No.
And if he does, one will be shoehorned somewhere ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got better players than Everton, Geo. I do. We bloody should have. We just spent 180 million quid and we were in Europe last season as well. So we've put a layer on top of that. But you've got to go for it and you've got to be brave. And I know I say this, I've been saying it for years, but I'll say it again. When that team sheet goes in, it's really important that you give the opposition manager something to think about. Right? What you don't want to do is hand in a team sheet that actually the manager looks at it, Lampard looks at it, yeah, this is exactly what we've been working on all week. Totally predictable. What you want to do is actually something like that. I think, oh, God, okay, right, we're not prepared for this. They've got Scamacca and Antonio up front, and then it's Paqueta, Brazilian geezer, right behind them, and and then when they actually start playing, you make the opposition manager scramble. This isn't the. I weren't expecting him to take up these positions, so he's screaming onto the pitch, saying, Anana, get back there, not where we discussed, not where we trained, move there. He's playing a different area of the pitch. Do something, be innovative, be brave, actually go for it and send the team out to win. And the thing is, you've got to understand the value of a situation that teams are in. We're down the bottom. Our fan base is nervous, right? If you come to the London Stadium, you've got a real opportunity to make that place quiet and make the fans nervous because we've been crap, right? But by the same token, Everton are in a bad situation really at the moment for them, for all manner of reasons. Probably since Benitez went in there, right? There's not going to be a massive. I know the end of the season, the parties and the scenes were great. All right, they stayed up brilliant, right? But you go a goal up against Everton, it's going to be nervous. It's going to be Goodison will be quiet. You'll have Lampard scrambling around. There is an opportunity there to go for the jugular. What if we do is sit back and go defensive? We're giving them breathing space. If we give them breathing space, we're banging trouble. And I'm not convinced that David Moyes will basically put his foot on their throat and go for it.
Their fans have been quite good this season. When I've watched games at Goodison Park, they've been sort of not buying into the nitty gritty, hard to beat Everton, but there is an element of that where they put in a crunchy tackle and the crowd cheer it and encourage them and stuff. I've been quite impressed by the fact that the fans are sticking by Lampard, and the atmosphere has been quite good at Goodison. Like I said, I've only seen a couple of games at home. They probably only played 3 home games, but they were certainly behind the team then anyway. But I agree with what you're saying. Go a goal up, it's a bit different. But they got a goal up, I expect it to become a tough atmosphere for us to play in as well.
And to be fair, Geo, sorry, just fine. That and Selhurst Park, pretty much the only proper football stadiums that are left. And when they get noisy,
what about Ellen Road, the City Ground in Villa Park?
Elland Road, Elland Road, Villa Park. It's a bit cavernous, really. City Ground, I can't even think of the City Ground, to be fair. I'm not even sure I've even. Oh yeah, a few years ago, a long time ago, mate, long time ago. But yeah, my point is they've got a proper. Their stadiums like Upton Park was. Do you know what I mean? Goodison Park, proper stadium. The crowd get behind them, and it's a horrible place to play.
Any final words in your score prediction, please, sir?
Not really. Not any final words. I think I've pretty much said it all in this. Just reiterate, it's a massive game. Score prediction. I'm going to go with 1-1. I'm not even sure I believe that.
I think the bad thing for us is Everton have loads of time to prepare for this game. They had no game last weekend. They've had more than a week on the training ground. We've been in Denmark Thursday night. Moyes was complaining it's a late kickoff, so they arrive home later ahead of this one, which will come into consideration. That will impact us. We'll have very little time on the training ground, if any, between Thursday's game and Sunday. It's not ideal preparation, but this is possibly why you shouldn't try change information if you're not going to have much time on the training pitch to work out. And we had a week before Thursday, and we turned up with that. So I'm not confident one more day is going to do much difference. I'm really nervous for this one. I'm nervous, not just because we're away face a team. I know they haven't won in 6 games this season, but they're also unbeaten in 4, including their last game against Liverpool, where they kept a clean sheet. And that will inspire a bit of positivity for them. They'll be saying, look, we're doing it fine defensively against Liverpool, clean sheet, happy days, let's build on that. We're making it difficult for teams. And I think there's only one game this season they've conceded more than 1 goal, and that was against Aston Villa. And 5 of them, they conceded 1 at most. So it's going to be difficult for us. What are we struggling to do? Break teams down. What are we way to do? Play a team that's difficult to break down. Wonderful. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, doesn't it? I'm not confident for this one. I am nervous. And a large part of that is because today, right now, recording this, I have a little bit of a grumpy hangover from the game last night. I don't have confidence in the manager picking the right tactics, right formation, and the right selection. All 3 of them need to be aligned. I don't have confidence in that. But saying that, I agree with you. We do have better players, and I'm also gonna agree with you. Everton 1, West Ham United 1. Anyway, 2:15 kickoff on Sunday, so we'll be live at 1:10. If you're going to the game, enjoy it. If you're not, please pop back here at 1:10. We'll be live with our build-up show, taking a look at the Everton team as well as the West Ham United team, and getting interactive with you all in the live chat. If you enjoyed this preview, do drop a like on it, subscribe to Hammer's channel. Like I said, get your teams that you would like to see, not what you think Moyes will do, what you want to see in the comments below. We'll be back later on, take a look at what you're all saying, because it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a variety, let's put it that way. But anyway, myself and Gonzo, catch you in a bit.